Hi, this is Kathy Atkinson. I'm the owner of Mind, Body, and Soul, and today we're here to talk about setting SMART goals. So you may have some questions. I'm going to be covering a whole lot of information. I'm going to try and keep it to about 15 minutes. Might go over, but I'm going to do my best to keep it to just 15 minutes. But if you do have questions, please put them in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them while we're here today. And if I don't have time, which I probably won't, what I'll do tomorrow is have a Q&A on my website, which is mindbodyandsoulonline.com. I'll do a Q&A, and I'll answer your questions, and I'll even have a goal setting handout for you that I'll share with you too. So what I want to do first off today is just talk about some of the benefits of setting goals, and then we'll get into how to make SMART goals, and then how to have success in keeping your goals. So one of the benefits of goals, of setting goals, is that goals give you a focus. So imagine if you were shooting an arrow and you had no target. Where would you aim? And if you did decide to aim at just some random thing, why would you aim there? And what would be the benefit of aiming there? So you kind of get the idea that if you don't have a goal, then, or if you don't have a goal, then you don't have a target. And so that goal kind of gives you a place to aim. So you can have all the potential in the world, but unless you're focusing your abilities and your talents, they're really not much use to you. Hey, Tracy. So a goal helps you focus your efforts, because at the end of the day, your goals are what give you a direction in life. So by setting goals, you're giving yourself a target to shoot for. So another benefit of setting goals is that goals allow you to measure your progress. So if you set a goal, you're able to know, if you've got an endpoint, how far you are along on that path. How far do you still have to go? What do you still need to do? What are some things that you still need to work on? So goals kind of give you a way to measure. Goals also keep you locked in and keep you from being distracted. So when you set a goal, you give yourself some mental boundaries. So when you have an endpoint in mind, you automatically stay away from things that will detract you, and it kind of keeps you focused on your goals. So think about, let's say, for example, that you've got a friend that you haven't seen in a real long time, and you're really anxious and excited to see them, and they happen to be flying across the country, and they're going to be landing in Salt Lake City for a layover. They have like a 30-minute layover, and you have time that you could actually see them, and you haven't seen them in years, and so you really want to spend some time with your friends. So you know that it's going to take you 30 minutes to drive to the airport, and it's going to take you maybe 10 minutes to get to a place where you can actually see each other. And so you want to give yourself 45 minutes to get from wherever you're starting to the airport. Because you have that focus, when you leave, you're not going to stop off and get a donut. You're not going to stop by the house and check the mail or check your voicemail or your email or anything. You've got that focus in mind that you need to go and you want to spend some time with your friend. You've only got that 30-minute window to do. So by setting that goal, you don't get distracted. It keeps you focused. So it kind of helps you, it gives you more likelihood of achieving your goal. Okay, so along those same lines, goals help you from being procrastinating. Yeah. So when you set a goal, you make yourself accountable for the task. So this is kind of in contrast to what you do if you just fly by the seat of your pants, and if you just kind of do things based on a whim, and it doesn't really matter if you complete your goals or not. So goals tend to stick in your mind, and if you don't complete them, then in the back of your mind, you're going, oh, doggone it, I was supposed to do this today. And you get like these little reminders in the back of your mind to keep you from procrastinating and from being lazy. But one of the things you want to keep in mind is that if you have long-term goals or goals that are set too far out there, that it actually makes it easier to procrastinate. So most people aren't good if they have a goal that's more than 3 months away. So if you have a long-term goal, what they suggest, or what the experts suggest, is that you take that long-term goal and you actually break it down into shorter goals. So if you have a goal that you need to complete in 3 months, maybe set shorter goals for a month away. And maybe if you've got a goal for a month away, break that down so that you've got goals each week that you need to accomplish that helps you achieve that goal that's maybe 3 months out or 5 months out or 6 months out. So that you can feel like you've made some success and not procrastinate. Another benefit of setting goals is that goals give you motivation. You know, the root of all motivation or inspiration that you've ever felt in your life are really your goals. Goal setting provides you with kind of a foundation for your drive. So by making a goal, you give yourself an endpoint to aim for and to get excited about. It gives you something to focus on, and then you can put all your effort into this focus, and that develops motivation. So goals are simply tools to help you focus your own positive energy in a positive direction. So now that you know all the benefits of setting goals, how do you make good ones? So there's a really neat little tool. It's an acronym called SMART. So you want to make SMART goals. And SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Okay, so what does that mean? So first of all, you want to set a goal that's specific, that says exactly what you want to accomplish. Okay, so it should be a simple goal, it should make sense, and it should usually answer these questions. Who is going to do it? What are they going to do? When are they going to do it? Where? And sometimes why. So if you don't have a bigger goal, you might want to put down why you're doing this, what it's going to accomplish for you, but usually you know why you're doing it. So the goal or the specific goal is usually going to say who, and it's typically going to be you, because you can't really set goals for other people because then they get to decide whether they achieve them or not. So you want to set goals for yourself typically. So it's going to be, I'm going to do what? So let's say I'm going to go for a walk. So let's say that my goal is that I want to exercise more. Well, simply saying I want to exercise more isn't very specific, okay? So if I want to be specific, I'm going to say I'm going to walk 15 minutes every day around my block. So that says who. I'm going to do what? I'm going to walk. I'm going to go for a walk. When? Every day. I could even be more specific and say every day at 9 o'clock. I'm going to walk for 15 minutes around my block. So do you see how that's specific about who's doing what and when am I going to do it and where am I going to do it? And I could add the why in there, but my bigger goal is that I want to exercise more, okay? So it needs to be specific. It also needs to be measurable, so that's the M. So specific and measurable. And that means that you need to set concrete criteria. So you need to be specific about what it is you're going to do, but also you need to be able to measure towards your progress. So how much? So that's, the 15 minutes every day, or how many. So that way you know when you've accomplished it. So instead of saying I'm going to walk every day, I might say I'm going to walk every day at 9 o'clock for 15 minutes. So that's measurable. I know if I went out at 9 o'clock and I know if I walked for 15 minutes. Okay, so that kind of gives me some, I can tell if I've met my goal for the day. You also want your goal to be achievable. So specific, measurable, achievable. And achievable kind of has two components to it. First of all, do you have all the resources you need to achieve your goal? So if my goal is I'm going to walk 15 minutes at 9 o'clock every day, do I have what I need to do that? So do I have shoes that I can walk in? Do I have an umbrella if it's raining? Do I have a jacket if it's cold? That type of thing. But let's say that my goal is I'm going to go to the gym every Friday, or I'm going to go to the gym every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'm going to work out for 2 hours. Okay. So achievable, number one, do I have a way to get to the gym every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? Or even, I'm going to be there every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 6 to 8. Is the gym open from 6 to 8? Do I have what I need so that I can go to the gym and comfortably work out? Do I have a water bottle? All those types of things. Do you have the resources that you need to achieve your goal? But the other component of achievable is your goal challenging but realistic? So going back to the working out at the gym goal, if my goal is that I'm going to go to the gym every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm going to work out for 2 hours. If I haven't worked out in 10 years, and I want to go to the gym and work out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2 o'clock, okay, maybe I could do that, but it may not be realistic to expect me to go and lift weights for 2 hours 3 times a week when I haven't worked out in 10 or more years. So maybe making it an hour, maybe start out by, I'm going to be walking around the track, or I'm going to start doing some crunches, or I'll do some cardio or something like that. So you want the goal to be challenging but realistic, and not so challenging that it's not realistic, meaning that you're going to get discouraged if you don't do it. Okay. The next thing you want is you want your goal to be relevant. So specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant. And relevant means how does it align with your overall objective? Whatever your goal is. So maybe my overall goal is that I'm going to be healthier. Well, does this fit in with it? Yes, it does. Will it make a difference in a year? Yes, it will. If my goal is I want to be healthier, so I'm going to walk to the mailbox every day to pick up the mail. Okay, that's achievable. It's realistic for me to expect to walk to the mailbox every day to pick up my mail, but is it really going to make a difference in a year? Probably not. Okay, so you want to look at ways it's going to improve your life. Is it going to improve you physically? Is it going to improve you emotionally or mentally? Is it going to improve you spiritually or professionally or financially or even socially or maybe with your family? So you want to make it something that's going to make a difference in your life. How is it going to improve your life? Okay. And then the last one for a SMART goal is you want it to be time bound. So you've got specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. When specifically do you want to accomplish your goal? Okay. So does your goal state a clear and specific deadline? So, like the exercising example that we were just using, walking around my block every day at 9 o'clock for 15 minutes. There's a time. I can schedule it on my calendar to work on it. So that one's an easy one. But let's say you're working on something like for work. Okay. In addition to talking to you guys every once in a while, I also teach classes. I teach some foot zoning classes, and I have students. And one of the things I counsel them is set aside on your calendar a block of time that you devote to your studies and to your practicum, so that you know that this is when I'm going to be studying and this is when I'm going to be seeing practice clients. And then as time goes on, a lot of people will take the foot zoning course simply because they want to be able to help their family and friends, and that's great. But as time goes on, some of those people decide, you know what, this will really be a good way for me to help my family financially. My kids are grown, I've got some time, and I can actually do this and make a little bit of money to help my family. So for those students, their time, it might go from being 2 hours a day. They might decide, you know what, I want to start seeing clients every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 o'clock after the kids are in school to 2 o'clock before they get home. And so that's going to be my window, and I can mark it on my calendar that from 10 to 2, that's when I'm going to be doing my studying, I'm going to be seeing my clients. And then if you've got that time blocked out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 2, that's when you're focusing on your goal. And for these students, it might be to build their practice. If they don't have clients scheduled back to back and they've got their homework done, they can use that time to work toward their goal in other ways. So maybe that's when they're working on building their website, or maybe that's when they're working on designing a business card or something. But they've got that time blocked out on their calendar that they're devoting to their business, or they're devoting to their exercise, or they're devoting to their scripture study, or something along that line. You just block it out on your calendar so that it's time bound, that you know when you're going to be doing it. Okay, so now you know how to make your goals SMART. You know the benefits for making goals. I want to give you a few little tips on how you can actually be successful in your goals. Okay, the first thing that you want to make sure that you do, you want to write your goals down. When you write down your goals, this crystallizes them and it gives them more force. There was actually a group of students that graduated from Harvard's MBA program, and they kind of got these students together, and they asked them, if they had clear goals for their future. And if they had clear goals, if they had made specific steps so that they could turn their goals into reality. Okay, well, what they found out was that there was only 3% of the students who had written their goals down and made steps, written down some steps so they could accomplish those goals. Only 3% did that. There were 13% who had goals in their mind, but they hadn't written them down anywhere. And the other 84% didn't have any goals at all. Okay, so I want you to think for a minute, where are you in that group? Okay, are you part of the 84% who has no goals? Are you part of the 13% you have some goals, and you're thinking about them, but you really haven't written them down? Or are you part of the 3% where you've written down your goals and you've put some steps down on how you can accomplish them? Okay, so now we've got this group of MBA, Harvard MBA students, or graduates, sorry, and 10 years later, they get together the same group of students and they interview them again. And what they discovered was really kind of interesting. So you remember the 13% who had goals in the back of their mind, but they hadn't really written them down or anything like that? Well, they were earning twice as much money as the 84% who didn't have any goals at all. That's kind of interesting. But what's really interesting is that the 3% who had actually written down their goals and had written steps on how to achieve them, they were earning twice as much as everybody else that had no, or as everybody else combined, sorry, as the 97% combined. So the 3% who had written down goals and written down how they were going to accomplish them were making 10 times, an average of 10 times more than the 97% of the class combined. So write your goals down. That's going to be really important. And maybe you will even want to put them by your bed, and so that you can look at them in the morning and look at them at night before you go to bed, because when you're asleep, then your mind continues working on how to achieve those goals. Okay, so it's really important to write down your goals. Well, Glenda, then now you know that you need to write them down, right? So the second one, make sure that when you state your goal, that you state it as a positive statement. So instead of saying, don't eat junk food, try saying, I'll eat healthy food, or even better yet, I'll eat a salad with each meal. So one of the benefits of doing that is that the mind works in images. So for example, if I say the word soft, or I say the word hard, or love, or warm, or cold, you probably see images. So with the word soft, maybe you saw a pillow, or maybe you saw a cloud. With the word hard, maybe you saw a rock. With the word love, maybe you saw a heart. You get that image. So your mind works in images, and then it goes about creating the image. So if I say, don't fall down the stairs, you visualize yourself falling downstairs. But if I say, walk down the stairs carefully, you might see yourself holding onto the railing, walking a little more slowly, but you're walking down carefully. So when you write your goal, make sure you state it in a positive statement rather than a negative one, okay? Then you're going to want to set priorities. So you're probably going to have more than one goal at a time, and we'll get into how many is a good number to have. But when you have priorities, if you have more than one goal, if you have priorities, then that gives you another place to focus, and you don't end up feeling overwhelmed because you have too many goals and you're not really sure what one to focus your attention on. Okay, so set priorities. So for example, I was working on a project, and it was a book that I've been working on putting together, and that's been my priority for a while. But I also, when I say a while, I mean like for the last 3 or 4 weeks. I also have a class that I teach, and I teach that. It's a 2-day class that I teach once a month, and I mentioned that I teach foot zoning classes. And so the week before class, that's my time to prepare for class. I do some more studying. I brush up on what I'm going to be teaching, just so I'm familiar with the material, because it's a 9-month course, and so I only teach it once every 9 months, and so I want to make sure that I'm prepared for the class that weekend. So the 3 weeks before that, my priority was working on this book. Okay, the week before the class, my priority shifts. So set priorities so that I've got more than one goal and I can work on both of them, but my focus is going to be on this one right now because this has got the larger priority. Does that make sense? So the next thing that you'll want to do is, after you've written down your goal in a positive statement, okay, you want to write down 1 to 3 specific steps on how you're going to achieve that goal. So when you do that, now you have a plan and you have a roadmap that's going to lead you to where you want to go. You don't need to have a detailed plan, but you do need to know at a minimum your next step. So you might say, okay, I'm writing down this goal. What do I need to do to achieve this goal? And you're going to write down, 1, 2, or 3 things. And the very first thing, or the one that you're going to star beside it, is what's the next step that I need to do? What's the very next thing that I need to do to achieve this goal? And I know that I've got maybe a couple other things I need to do too, but this is the first thing. Okay, so under each goal, make sure you've got 1, 2, or 3 steps on how you can achieve that goal. Now that's one of the things that's kind of interesting is that when you have fewer goals, you actually achieve more in the long run. So if you're focusing on 2 or 3, the maximum for some people, they say can handle up to 5. But when you have too many goals, you actually end up diluting your energy between all your goals. And most of the time, you don't really achieve as many of them as you'd want. And sometimes some people don't even achieve any, according to some of the studies. But if you have, 2 or 3, maybe up to 5, you can work on them. And when you're working on one, and you can work on one while you're waiting for something else that needs to happen with the other one. So, for example, when I'm working on that book that I was working on, one of the things that needed to happen was I had 25 people who had to send me information that I could include in this book. And so I was working on that. I was also working on another project. And so when I got to the point that I couldn't work anymore on this book because I had somebody who hadn't sent me information, I could now work on another project. So have a few goals, but you want to have more than just the one, so that while something's going on with this one, you can go and focus your attention somewhere else. Does that make sense? Okay. Another way that's really beneficial for helping you succeed in your goals is to have a goal buddy. This actually increases your success by 10%, and it helps you learn how to achieve your goals. So you kind of have a partner that will hold you accountable. It means that you don't really have you have less of a chance of procrastinating. And when things happen and you end up stop working on your goals, or if something happens and you stop working on your goal, then your goal buddy can kind of give you some motivation. So there was a psychology professor, I believe it was at the University of Michigan, and she did a study with a group of people, and she broke them into 5 different groups. And in the first group, they had unwritten goals. The second group wrote down their goals. The third group wrote down their goals and wrote some steps on how they were going to achieve them. The fourth group wrote their goals, wrote their action steps, gave them to a friend, gave their goals to a friend. But the fifth group did all of that and then met with their friend weekly, either over the phone or maybe they went to lunch or something, and kind of gave it a return and report kind of thing. They kind of kept each other focused on what was going on and reported to one another. And the results showed that those that returned and reported were 76% more likely to achieve their goals than the others. That's kind of a significant percentage. So have a goal buddy, somebody that you can talk to and say, I've got this goal. My goal is to go to the gym 3 times a week and exercise for 2 hours and whatever your goal is, and then meet with them once a week to report and see how things are going. Maybe they can go with you to the gym or something, but just so you have that goal buddy. And that leads me to the next one, is that review your goals every week. Take a look at your goals and see if they're still working for you, because things change, life changes, and maybe your focus is going to change. Maybe something happens and your goal is to walk around your neighborhood for 15 minutes every day at 9 o'clock, and then 3 months down the road you decide I want to do a marathon. Well, you might need to up that up, or bump that up a little bit. Or maybe something happens and you find out that you get sick, or some other life situation happens and you're not able to, or somebody that you have to take care of, or something happens. So just review those goals once a week to make sure that they're still matching that criteria of being SMART goals. Okay. The next one, and I've just got 2 more. I'm trying to keep this short for you guys so I don't take too much of your time. But the next one is really kind of important, and that one is to be grateful for your progress so far. So when you review your goals every week, Be grateful for the progress you've made. Even if you haven't completely done everything that you wanted to do, be grateful, because when you have guilt over a lack of progression, it actually causes negative emotions. And on a subconscious level, we lose confidence that we can achieve the goals that we've set, no matter what the goal is. So this ends up being the basis for procrastination and for a lack of progress, because we just don't have the confidence that we can make it. So create a daily habit of expressing gratitude for the progress you've made so far. It helps you gain confidence. And this is really powerful, because you can't be grateful and feel negative emotions at the same time. So the last thing is that you want to start your goals now. Don't worry about making it perfect. Just start now. You've got to start someplace. So don't procrastinate and say, oh, I'll wait until I have all my ducks in a row. Start making your goals now. Create a list and start determining those action steps. So that's actually my challenge for you. I want you to name some goals for this month. Okay, this is January. We're actually halfway through January. So if you've had some resolutions that haven't panned out, that's okay. Start now. Name some goals for this coming up month, maybe for the next 2 weeks, and break them down into realistically what you need to do each week in order to achieve them. And there are typically, as I mentioned, 7 or 8 different areas. Maybe make a goal, a physical goal to help with your health, an emotional goal, a mental goal, maybe to do some studying, a spiritual goal to read scriptures more often, a professional goal or a financial goal to save some money, or a social goal that you're going to go out with your wife every week or something, or a family goal that you're going to have, family whatever once a month. Those are some areas that you can set a specific goal for, that you want to work on for the next month. Remember that this is something that you have to do, because you don't have control over other people's actions. So just set those goals, make them smart, write them down, be grateful for the progress you've made, and before you know it, your goals will be met and they'll be achieved. So I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that there was some good information there. If you have questions, please put them below in the comments. Tomorrow I'll do a Q&A and hopefully answer all your questions. And I'll even include tomorrow on my website with the Q&A, I'll include this handout for goal setting that might make it easier for you. So thank you very much. Again, this is Kathy Atkinson. I'm the owner of Mind, Body, and Soul. Appreciate you guys joining me so much. And it's been a lot of fun for me. Hopefully there is some good information for you, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.